In today's video, I'm going to show you how we make the most delicious bacon that you'll ever eat. And the best part is we don't use any nitrates whatsoever. No nitrate salt, no special ingredients. We use coarse ground sea salt, dark brown sugar, and a little bit of black pepper, coarse ground pepper. And that's it. First thing you're going to need is going to be a pork belly. Now, we butcher our own pigs here on the farm, so our pork bellies do not come in a nice package ready to go. We have to process our meat and get it ready to go. So we'll usually take the ribs off, set those to the side, use those for a different meal, and then we'll trim down the pork belly fat, the extra fat that's on there. We'll set that aside and use that for rendering down lard. And then we'll trim up the pork belly itself to kind of square it up so it's easier to manage. And all those trimmings go into sausage, so nothing goes to waste. After we get it trimmed up, next thing I'm going to do is split this pork belly down the middle because it's too big to fit into a pan the way that it is. You want it to fit into like a 9x13 size pan. So this is what I'm using for my cure. I'm using coarse sea salt. You don't want iodized salt and you don't want fine salt. Coarse sea salt. And you're going to do equal parts of coarse sea salt and dark brown sugar. And then I like to sprinkle a little bit of coarse black pepper in mine. We're just going to mix it up. Looks pretty good. Let's get our pork bellies. All right, we're going to just pat this dry. Make sure it's dried out good. The whole point of curing is pulling the moisture out. So any moisture we can get off to begin with will just help speed the process. It's pretty good. I'm going to put a layer. I might have to trim this a little bit. Let's see. That'll be all right. Just going to sprinkle this on. Pretty heavy, but not super heavy. Like if you were going to smoke. Want it to be even. Pat it in so it stays. A little bit long, but I didn't want to trim it and just grind it, so it's just going to stick up in here a little bit. So that was 1/3 cup of brown sugar, 1/3 cup of salt. That's enough to do like a 9 by 13 slab of pork belly. Now we're going to stick this in the fridge just like this. I'm not going to cover it or anything. We're going to stick it in the fridge, and each day I'm going to turn it over. And when I turn it over for the first few days, there's going to be some liquid in the bottom. I'm going to dump that out. And this salt is going to just soak into the meat, draw the moisture out, and we're going to keep dumping that off. And we're going to do that for 5 days. Well, it's the next day. You can see here there's moisture up on top. That salt's really drawing the moisture out of the meat. And you can see the puddle in the bottom of the pan here. Just let it drain off the best you can and dump that out. And then you'll just put the pork belly back in there on the opposite side from what it came out. Now we repeated that process for 5 days. So after 5 days, we weren't getting any more moisture out of the meat. So we took it out, rinsed it off real good, get rid of all that salt that's left on the meat. And then you're gonna let it lay out to dry for 20 or 30 minutes. After it's dry, now comes the good part. Now this is a cold smoke process you want to do. I don't have a smokehouse built yet, so I just used my offset smoker, and I built a very small fire inside the firebox. And I used oak to get it going, and then I ended up adding some apple wood chunks, which gave the bacon a really good flavor. And then I just placed the pork bellies on the far end of the offset smoker racks, fat side down. Now I'm gonna add back some black pepper since we rinsed all of our seasonings off. I really like the flavor of the black pepper, so I'm gonna just sprinkle some more on here. You can do all sorts of rubs, maple syrup, whatever you wanna use, but this is my favorite. Now after smoking at about 200 degrees for roughly 2 hours, they'll look something like this right here. You don't want it to render the fat down, so you want to make sure to keep the temperature low, and you'll get a good smoke flavor. Now we're going to take these off, put them inside in the refrigerator so it'll firm up. It'll make slicing it a lot easier. All right, for the best part, almost best part. Best part's eating it. Just slice it up. I'll take that outside piece, kick it to the side. Look at that. Now this would be a lot easier if you had a slicer. I don't have one yet. Maybe someday. Got a little dent on that one. Now for the best part. Now there are lots of ways that people cook bacon, but there's only one right way. And that is in a deep skillet of bacon grease. To get an even cook, make you a nice bed of bacon grease. And when we're done, we'll let it cool a little bit, and we'll put it back in the jar and use it again later, because we're going to make more this time. Should have gotten a bigger skillet. The nice part about cutting it thick, you can brown it up real nice and it's not super crispy. Tastes amazing. All right, here's the moment of truth. That's perfect. It's not too salty. It's just salty enough. It's got really, really good flavor. You got to do this. You'll enjoy it. Very good. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.